And welcome back to the Popcorn Conspiracy on CentralCoastRadio.com. Well, now I want to take a look at a brand new film that is out in cinemas right now. It's called The Secret Kingdom, and it's the latest film from Australian director, screenwriter Matt Drummond, who's been doing some pretty amazing things over the years when it comes to films with special effects. His film, My Pet Dinosaur, was an absolutely fantastic film that really showed how indie filmmaking in Australia has changed over the years, with the fact that it looked like $100 million international film, but was really an Australian film. Now, the latest film that he has made is a brand new kind of sci-fi fantasy called The Secret Kingdom, and once again, Matt's unique ability of being able to bring creatures to life on screen comes to life in this film. Now, the film centers around a young boy called Peter, played by Sam Everingham, and his sister Verity, played by Alia Brown. Now, their lives during the 1960s are suddenly turned upside down when their father, David, played by Christopher Gabardi, moves them to the country. And it's only after they've moved to the country that he drops the bombshell to his wife, Vivian, played by Alice Parkinson, that they've actually lost the house in the city, and are now being forced to live in this rundown house in the country. Now, Peter has got some severe mental issues at the start of this film. We don't know what sparked them, but we know that he is scared to walk on cracks. Seems to have a phobia of just about everything, to the point where he doesn't even want to go inside the brand new house. Now, on his first day there, he wanders across the road with Verity to a general store where there's a kind of strange woman working there, and he ends up having to buy this weird kind of magical item that he accidentally breaks in the store. That night, he suddenly finds himself and Verity pulled into this world underneath their house, which is run by these little creatures called pangolins. And these pangolins soon tell Peter that he is their king, and that he's going to help them bring back order to the world, where this creature called the Shroud has everybody living in fear and is turning people into statues. Now, it is a very kind of strange film, but it's very much a film that was like the kind of films that I grew up watching when I was a child. It's got a very never-ending story kind of vibe to the film. The creatures are top-notch. Now, I know these days when you go to watch a movie, you're expecting massive special effects and action sequences. This film doesn't have many of them. It's more of a journey kind of film, like an Alice in Wonderland, or, like I said, a never-ending story kind of film where Peter and Verity end up meeting these unique kind of creatures. The pangolins are absolutely fantastic, and the one that helps them the most, Pling, who's voiced by Darius Williams, you just end up falling in love with him because he's such an innocent little creature. And I think that's what I like about this film, is that Matt Drummond could easily have made these creatures something cute like rabbits or cats or dogs. Instead, he's gone for these kind of weird little creatures, but they just warm your heart when you're watching them. They're such innocent little creatures. And there's a talking double-headed turtle later on as well in the film, and you just find yourself as an audience really warming to them. But I just found myself all the way through this movie totally engrossed by the story that was happening. But the one thing I found that was really interesting was this film is a film that you can tell is for families, but it's the kind of film that adults are going to love as well, because it does have that Gremlins meets never-ending story kind of vibe to it. At one point, I was actually thinking, are modern-day kids going to get into this film? But as I looked around the cinema today, I realized that kids were totally engrossed in this film as well. They were loving it. It really does feel like a fantasy novel has come to life and is playing out in front of you. Now, I won't spoil anything, but I will say that I did not see the ending of this film coming about. There is a big explain all at the end of this film, and you sit there once it's revealed thinking, how did I miss that in the rest of the film? It is such a well written finale by Matt Drummond that it is just absolutely amazing. In fact, I can't wait for more of my friends to see the film so I can actually talk about that finale with them. The other thing too, all throughout this movie, I've got to take my hat off to the young actors. Sam Everingham is pretty much in every single scene of this film. He carries this film at such a young age, but does an absolutely amazing job. Alia Brown is the same as Verity, and again, she kind of reminds you with her performance of the princess in the Empress, sorry, in Neverending Story. It's a unique kind of role, and the two of them together are just absolutely amazing throughout this film. But like I said when I reviewed My Pet Dinosaur, Matt Drummond is one of the most creative and talented Australian filmmakers out there. I'm surprised that not more people have fallen in love with his work because he is such a stunning filmmaker. His films have got that kind of 80s, 90s vibe to them with this amazing creature design and visual effects that just makes you want to see this guy get given $100 million to make a film in Hollywood because his films are just stunning. Like, and not only do they visually look good with the creatures and everything like that, but his screenwriting is fantastic. Like this film takes the audience on a journey, and like I said, it has this finale that you're going to remember for a long time after you watch it. It also delves into mental health a lot in this film as well, about with the character of Peter at the start not even being able to get out of a car and go into the house because he is so afraid of the world around him, but suddenly finding himself having to be strong and noble in this world where he's deemed a king. I guess in a certain sense it's almost like Narnia in that sense, where you suddenly have a boy king having to rule these creatures. But look, this is a truly remarkable feat from an Australian filmmaker. Perhaps it is a little bit slow in some areas, but I think that the visual style of the film kind of makes you pass right over the top of that because it just is so stunning to look at. I'm going to give this one 4 out of 5. I think it really is a great film. I cannot wait for until the day where Matt Drummond is given a huge $100 million budget to work on in America, because he to me is the next Del Toro or the next Jim Henson. He is such a great filmmaker. But 4 out of 5 for The Secret Kingdom. Have a look at your local cinema guides because it is showing in select cinemas, but well worth a look. You're listening to The Popcorn Conspiracy on CentralCoastRadio.com.